Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and to all of our listeners out there throughout the world, Gwendolyn.
Yes, we just thought we would jump on here, good as in the details, to say Happy New Year. We're looking forward to 2023. Oh my God, it's 2023, Rudy. Can you believe it?
I cannot believe that it's 2023.
Especially since we're recording at the end of 2022.
Especially since we're still recording. That's why I can't believe it. But also, it just keeps, we are into the roaring 2020s now, and we're going into our third year of it. And boy, the 2020s started off like crap. But I think they're getting better. Do you think they're getting better? What are your thoughts on the 2020s?
You know what? We have learned just collectively as humans, really the way to navigate things in a completely different way. I mean, all of our worlds were just turned upside down, and we are figuring out how to still connect, how to survive. We're finding out what's important. A lot of things were taken away from us, which meant that we had to find new ways of doing things. I remember when the pandemic started and we were our last recording in the studio and things were shutting down, and you said, this is going to be for a while. And I thought, no, like it just in a couple months, it'll be over. And then I was in a panic because I thought, how are we going to do this? But it turns out we found a way. And I feel like that's just the human spirit, human motivation. People find a way. And in some ways, we have been able to connect with amazing people because we're not tied to a studio location anymore. So what I thought was the end of the podcast after we had just gotten started actually ended up being the greatest thing. Because we can talk to people internationally. Like when we talked to Dr. Cholby about his book on grief, and he's in Scotland. But when we had the conversation about sex robots, and the professor was in Canada. So that's been a really cool thing for me, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think but for the pandemic, our podcast may not have been able to reach 100 episodes, right? Because if we were still doing the in-studio thing and meeting up and coordinating people's schedules and, you have a child, I have kids, and our crazy schedules, I don't think we would have been able to hit 100 episodes like we did in 2022. Thank you very much. Things are evolving. Mm-hmm. Would I like to do some more in-person stuff? Yeah, I had a good time when me and Dr. Tony McCanta got together. That was a lot of fun. I'd like to do some in-person events. Maybe we can do a live event or two. I have no idea. I'm open to being surprised in 2023. I don't know why I thought about this, but in my brain, I was like, okay, it's 2023. Let me look in my brain in the past when we've crossed into the threes, like 1983. Can I remember 1983? Nah, I can't really remember 1983, but some pretty good 80s movies came out of it. 1993, huge year. That's when I started to drive, right? That's when I turned 16. And so it was a pretty monumental year in my life. 2003, graduated from law school, moved back to the LA area. 2013, pretty monumental year. Kate and I finally lived together after 5 years of a commuting marriage. She got a job in Los Angeles, and we started to live together in 2013. A couple of tragedies occurred that year, but so I'm just kind of, any year that ends with a 3 has been pretty monumental. Hopefully 2023 will be monumental in a good way, and it'll be monumental for good as in the details. Gwen, what would you like to see happen for our show in 2023?
I want us to do live events so badly. So over the summer, I want us to find out a way. Hey, any listeners out there, if you want to invite us to come to your organization, we'd be happy to do it. We'd love to do it. I'm looking forward to us working on a book. We'll give everybody more updates on that. And we started out 2022 pretty sharp. Our first episode in January last year was How Does Genetic Engineering Reflect Our Humanity? With Dr. Michael Bess. And that episode won an award for, I think it was for education. And so if that's how we start out January 2022, I think January 2023 and the whole year is just going to be amazing. And we're going to have more guests. We're getting better at this. I think our audience is growing. It means so much. I love all of it. Oh, and I just have to say something that was really exciting for me. One of our episodes with Dr. Angela Gorel, which was on her book, The Gravity of Joy. Everybody get it. I still just can't get over what a blessing it was to have that conversation with her, to read her book. I even called her up and left a message not too long ago just saying, look, I assigned that book to my existentialism class. The students loved it. Thank you. You are a gift. Your work is a gift. And she got back to me, and it was just a really, really lovely message. I want to tell everyone 2023, if you can, don't just text, don't just like stuff on social media, but if you can, make that phone call. Go ahead and do it. I want for people, like, it's not a huge New Year's resolution, but let's not lose touch with how valuable and how sweet it is to hear somebody's voice. And the other thing is that, yeah, with the gravity of joy, my students, they came into the class. Some of them had binge read her book. That never, ever happens. And so I'm really grateful about how these two aspects of my life, the one that's in the classroom and then the one that's podcasting, how they intersected like that just so beautifully. That's one of the things. So I want more of that. I want to make more memories like that, meet more amazing people, and then share that with my students. And then, of course, I love sharing everything with broad audience through podcasting.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my friend Jo. She's been on the show a couple of times. She sent a text when we released our last episode on relationships. She said, love the new podcast episode. What Gwen said about her own experience, very true. We love receiving text messages and shout outs on specific episodes. And look, friends, family, listeners, if you're out there and if you think you have a topic that you think would be relevant on our show, hit us up. Our email address is goodisinthedetailspod@gmail.com. We'd be happy to consider it. We'd be happy. And if there are other podcasts out there that are listening to us and you'd like us on your show, hit us up. Our goal is to roll this out and double down on this. I feel emboldened that we have it with the success that we've had. I think the future is bright. You know, I've been reading a lot of statistics lately about podcasts and what does it mean to be successful. The fact that we keep going, Gwen, the fact that we keep releasing episodes on a schedule and we're committed to this is the most important thing. Whether or not we make money from this, what we do get out of it is a lot of joy. We make a lot of friends. And when I get texts like this, that an episode helped somebody and it made them feel good about their experience or made them think a different way, that is better than money. So please keep sending us the text. Please keep encouraging us so we keep going. Even if you don't, we're going to keep going. But I'm making an ask for people. Tell us what good we're doing for you.
Yeah. And so I'll give a shout out to Gina. She sent me a message saying, I love listening to your podcast on walks. So thank you for that, Gina. It does mean so much when people reach out.
And do you have New Year's plans, Gwen?
I don't, but I thought maybe, do you have a New Year's, like, what do you want out of 2023? Like, is there something personal? It doesn't have to just be with podcasting. What are you going to do? Are you going to relinquish your fear of aliens?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not. No, I'm still going to be fearful of aliens. You mean like what are my resolutions for 2023? What's a
doable resolution like one that you know you're going to stick to? Or is there anything you hope for? What do you want?
I am going to take professional bowling lessons because there's a whole other side of me that you don't know about. The only sport that I did as a child that I was very good at was bowling, and I almost became a professional bowler. I actually hung up my bowling shoes and bowling ball because when I was 15 years old, I went with a bunch of girls from Rosary. First time I ever hung out from girls from Rosary to that bowling alley right next to Camelot, Concourse, whatever the one. Yeah. And I tried to train them on how to bowl and how to bowl better. And they laughed at me. They like literally dejected me. The very next day I quit bowling. I'm still a great bowler. So I want it. So one of my New Year's resolutions is to get more serious about bowling. I know that sounds weird, but I know listeners think I'm really weird. So I just wanted to dial it up a notch by giving them my bowling history. I have lined up a professional bowling coach in Orange County that I'm going to see when I go teach on Mondays. I'm going to see him either before or after. So I'm going to get better at bowling. I want to conquer Mount Whitney in a day. I want to do it in one day. I don't want to do an overnight hike. I want to do it all in one day. So those are my two resolutions. And I want to continue to be committed to fitness, be committed to being more patient. On the episode with Rabbi, I talked about my own personal thing of lowering my expectations. I want to really temper my expectations. And, was that a little bit too much? Or did that come way out of left field? No,
that's awesome. I was thinking, I used to go to the concourse when I was in high school. Did I ever see you there?
I don't know.
That wasn't one of the girls that was making fun of you.
I can't. I remember. Believe me, there was one of them that I do remember, and years later I brought it up to her. No, not on the show. She knows who she is. She knows who she is. We still talk about it. And, but I don't think you were one of those girls. I would have, wouldn't that have been funny if we were?
I wasn't the type of person to make fun. I don't think so.
You see, the made fun of might have just been in my brain. You see, I thought I was going to go in there and they were going to fawn all over me because I was such an awesome bowler. I thought they were going to be like, oh my God, this is what I've never seen a bowler like you. They might have just been like, oh, that's cool. And then I thought they were making fun of me. See, because 15-year-old Rudy had a crazier brain than 45-year-old Rudy.
I think that the New Year's resolution, so some people poo-poo on it and they're like, I don't want to hear this. But I actually think it's a good idea because the way to move forward is to be mindful of some goals, and they don't have to be giant. I'm a big believer in small steps. So actually, we talked about this with Rich about fitness. Like if you're living a sedentary life, like how do you switch it up to become more active? Like one of the things I thought was interesting was if you vacuum with one hand, then start vacuuming with the other hand, like you can do very small steps. And I think that's important. Like I know for me, when it came to yoga, I would just do a pose or two. I didn't jump in and be like, you know what, 5 days a week, I'm going to be at this yoga class and I'm going to master it. I just started off really small. Same thing with writing, because I used to write a lot. And then after becoming a new mom, that time's just gone. So I have to sit down and I have to say, okay, 20 minutes, I'm going to write. When it used to be more like reading and writing was the majority of my day, like 6 hours between reading and writing. And now I have to be okay with like small steps to get my concentration and my focus back. And when you can do those small steps, you can really achieve great things and then you crave more. So I think that for anyone who poo-poos on New Year's resolutions, just, I don't think you have to make them grand. Plan on the small actionable step that will get you there. So have the big goal in mind and then map out the actionable steps. I think it's great. I'm excited now. Excited to see you bowl and I'm going to be cheering you on. That's my actionable step of 2023.
Appreciate it. I'm glad you brought up more writing and I'm glad you brought up focused and attention. I too want to write more. In fact, I've signed up for some courses, online courses for better writing. I also want to break my crazy addiction to my phone. I downloaded an app. I read an article about best apps to break phone addiction and actually concentrate. I downloaded one called Forest, where it's like a Pomodoro effect where you could set a timer and you could set a timer for various times for various reasons. I know this is going to sound crazy, but Forest, you actually build a virtual tree every time you don't touch your phone for that time period. So you can go on there and look, and I have built like a little virtual forest. I know it sounds ridiculous. And when I was reading the article, it said, we know this is going to sound ridiculous, but we promise it works. It is working. I finished my first draft of a Forbes article, first one in a couple of months, by using Forest, sitting down in 25-minute chunks several times a day, where it's so funny. Right when I press build my tree, I'm really able to put the phone down and concentrate. And 25-minute chunks have been able to help me. You might want to download it, or maybe our listeners
Rudy,
want to try it. I've been using it.
Rudy, text me.
I will.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
pretty
so
good.
after this, text me. Hey, maybe we can reach out to them. Maybe they want to sponsor a show. You just gave them a great ad right there.
No, it's so far so good, but that is one of my biggest resolutions is to write more and to break the phone addiction.
And if anybody needs any, to work on their concentration, if anybody needs any book recommendations, please, you can reach out to Rudy and me. But I think that if somebody says they want to read more, that you can start out with essays and short stories. You don't have to sit down with, War and Peace or something like that. I think short stories are a really great way, or essays, to get back into reading. And it does so much. It's mindfulness. It expands all the chemistry in your brain, your capacity for empathy. All of this enhances and your focus when you read more. So if anybody wants to do that for their 2023. Okay, I'm excited.
Looking forward to 2023. Happy New Year to every listener out there. And thank you. You guys kick ass.
Thank you. Remember to check us out on patreon.com/goodisindthedetails, and I'll link it in the show notes. You can get extra content and join our book club.
Please write a review on Apple Podcasts. It takes 2 seconds. It really means a lot. You have no idea what it means. We'd really appreciate it. That would make you even more kick-ass.
We're almost at 200 5-star reviews. Okay, so what I want to kick that over. We need 5 more to get us to 200. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, scroll down to the bottom and hit that 5-star review. Okay, remember to check us out on Instagram, Good is in the Details Pod. And I don't know, screenshot your favorite episode and share it, tag it. We'd love to hear from you.
And if you're going to Podcast Movement in March in Las Vegas, I will be there. So if
Rudy
you're planning
Salo.
on going, hit me up. I will be there.
Of course, it's in Vegas. Rudy Salo. That's your
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, Happy New Year, everyone. Good is in the Details is produced by Dr. Gwendolyn Dolske and Rudy Salo. Thank you so much for listening, and we want to tell you about our partnership with Newsly. Newsly is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up on the top trending articles on the web on topics you choose at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice. The entire web becomes listenable for the first time, all in one place. Browse articles from topics you choose and start playing. Stop scrolling and start listening. You can follow any topic as specific as you like, from sports to tech to business to philosophy. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud. And they have podcasts as well. You can listen to Good is in the Details there. Download the Newsly app for free, and I'll link it in the show notes, newsly.me, and use the promo code THEDETAILS, also in the show notes, to receive a 1-month free premium subscription. Okay, everyone, Happy New Year. We'll see you soon. Bye.